Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Raw From Me Car. Again, not much car action going on, unless you subscribe to the notion that I've got some like TARDIS thing going on. And I'm actually sitting in my car right now, but because I've got this interdimensional thing where it's bigger on the inside than it is on the out, looks like I'm just sitting in. Fuck it, let's just go for it. Yeah, I am actually in my car at the moment, but I'm just fucking cool and have my own TARDIS car. Which, is that better than a DeLorean? It must be, isn't it? Yeah, where I am right now is cooler than the DeLorean. So you don't really get much better than that, do you? Again, I'm going to go and pick up my missus shortly. So I thought I would, it would be a shame. I'm going to shut the window actually because I don't know what the sound levels are like. That's better. I don't know what the sound levels are like because we don't need any traffic or anything going on in the background. But I thought I'd do one last raw from my living room before, trust me, tomorrow it will really be raw from my car. Got my Breaking Bad t-shirt on, which Vicky got me, which is pretty cool. Didn't even ask her for it, by the way. She just said, here you go. I was like, that's fucking brilliant. So to have a missus like that who just says, you know, here's a Grand Theft Auto / Breaking Bad t-shirt. Well, you know, I couldn't really ask for a lot better. But today, I've got to get my hair cut later as well, because apparently it's not very fanciable. But it's alright, you know. Don't see what the problem is. But yeah, you know, you got to do. I like Vicky to kind of dress up and wear nice things for me. So if she wants me to get my hair cut, then I suppose better should go and do it really. First section, I was going to talk about Breaking Bad. If you live quite a not a complicated life, but a busy life, if you work, basically, if you work like 40 hours a week or whatever, and you got a missus, and you like to go out, and you like to play computer games and various other things, there's only so much time you can devote to things, and I must admit, I'm not really that into series. You know, like some people just go mad, they just can't stop watching, you know, series after series on Netflix or whatever. So I don't devote that much time to it, but I think the last series that I devoted a lot of time to was The Sopranos, years ago. Just because that really struck me. It was just really good. I tell you what I like, life or anything in general, is when you have something. My theory is, and I was talking with my cousin about, who lives in Hong Kong, about this morning, it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, whether you've got loads of money or you haven't got any money, or you're a nobody in the street, homeless, or you're a millionaire, or you're someone like Russell Brand, or you're a gangster like Tony Soprano, or you're a school teacher who gets cancer and decides to start selling meth, or you're Jesse, who is quite similar to me in a certain way. You know, he's just a bit of a druggy fuck up, or was, and tries to change himself. Or if even you're what's his name, the one who died, the film actor, and I'll shoot me down because I've forgotten his name, but you know, the one, he died from an overdose. Last year or this year, and Philip Hoffman, and they were all saying when they met him, you know, he did these like Shakespeare plays, and they all said he was an absolutely amazing actor, a brilliant guy, and he just killed himself trying to reach some high that no one's ever going to get to. And it just goes to show we're all humans on a planet, and it doesn't matter what level you get to, it's hard. It's just really hard work. And I like programs where they show that all the different sides to everything, like with the Sopranos. He's like, I liked about the Sopranos was he was a mob boss. He was the boss out of all, not so much the fact that he was even a gangster. That was just when there's anything, a proper gangster in today's age. But he was the boss, and he was an absolute fuck up. He'd worked himself into this position where he was the boss of everything, and he got to about 40, and he just broke down and then spent the next 10 seasons desperately trying to claw onto it. And I think that's brilliant, because that's how I feel sometimes. And he was funny, and he lost his temper, he snapped at everyone, he beat people. But it didn't change the fact, when you saw him in his counselling sessions, I think it was a bit... Well, I know even if it was, he fancied the fuck out of his counsellor, didn't he? And I must admit, I quite fancied the counsellor as well. I think it was the glasses and the shirt and the skirt and everything. There's quite a nice... It's quite a nice look. But he got his wife, Carmela, and... she was lovely as well, very supportive. Although I do think sometimes she enjoyed the lifestyle of not having to work, having all the nice jewellery and the nice clothes. So she loved not having to go to work while Tony made all the money. But then she was so quick to fucking pick him up on the moral side of it every time. And also when he wasn't coping. It's like, well, you know, what are you blooming? But saying that, I still like Carmela. I thought she was, you know... As wives go, I think, you know, she was pretty decent. But it just goes to show, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that Tony loved Carmela. It was his wife, father, mother of his children, and he adored her. But it just goes to show that then he's put in a situation where he is with his, you know, with the counsellor who's a little bit attractive. And he started getting feelings for her. And I think the true test of a man, to me anyway, is you're not going to meet the love of your life. And, well, you are going to meet the love, well, hopefully you're going to meet the love of your life. But those feelings, they're not just going to, if you spent, like, before you met your love of your life, you spent the last 10 years fantasising about various different girls and being in a happy relationship, you get a lot of feelings built up in your head about how things are going to be, and you get little crushes on various celebrities. You're not going to meet the love of your life and suddenly just turn all of those off. You're not. That's not a realistic view of looking at anything. You are still going to fancy women, or men, regard, you know, whichever way you're looking at it. If you're a woman and you fancy men, or if you're a man and you fancy women, or if you're a man and you fancy men, and if you're a woman and you fancy women. What I'm saying is you can't just turn those feelings off. But the testament is that you are straight down the line, and I honestly don't think there is any excuse for this. You are 100% truthful to your woman, completely. And how much you fucking... I think, like, there's a comedian, and I will post this on my page, called Bill Burr, who talks for endless hours about how annoying women are, and why there is a reason to hit women. Because, and no, he says you should never hit a woman, but there's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. And he's absolutely brilliant, and I know a lot of women don't like him, but I just think he's coming from a male perspective. And if there was a woman comedian out there who said there was a million reasons to hit a man, I would probably agree with her. But what I like, and this is what's so clever, what I like about Bill Burr is... I think he gets away with saying and insulting and saying everything bad about women because it's all based around this one point, that you should never hit a woman. And I think that's absolutely genius, because I agree you should never hit a woman. And sometimes if you're having a bit of a fight, it's hard. But no, you shouldn't. And I don't know where that value's come from, but I agree with it. No, you shouldn't. You should never hit a woman, no matter how bad. But he's saying, when he was talking about it, he was saying that the woman was saying to him, "There's never a reason to hit a woman." And he's an American comedian. I don't normally gel with American comedians very often, but he said, "There's never a reason to hit a woman. There's never a reason." And he was saying, "Are you fucking insane? There's a million reasons to fucking hit a woman." You should never hit a woman, but that doesn't mean there isn't any reason why you'd want to. He said to all you women out there, when your guy, your partner or whatever, is being an absolute jackass, are you telling me that you've never wanted to smack him round the fucking head? Of course you have. But you should never, and I don't think you should ever hit your partner. Sometimes things that they get a bit, and I think the partner you are with, hopefully, you're generally on the same type of level, and I find if you're quite a fiery, emotional person, you know, things can get very to boiling point sometimes, and it is hard. But I do agree there is never ever a reason to hit a woman. But Tony used to get a bit like that, and he very, very close. But it didn't change the fact he clearly loved Carmela more than anything. Even regards, this is my, I don't agree with cheating, and I don't think that was the whole. I mean, they just put that in because that was the whole gangster thing. Yeah, they always had a woman on the side, didn't they? But I don't agree with. I think pretty much everything else can happen and you can get through it. But personally, I don't think, whether it's lying to them about money or drinking or whatever else, from a faithful point of view, I think you should be forever faithful to your woman. Otherwise, what's the point? But where I started was, you're not going to turn those feelings off. You're still going to fancy other members of the public on the street. But it doesn't matter whether you do that, because you will still think, well, I fancy him, or I fancy her, or I fancy whatever. But then the second you think I fancy them, you will still always think in the back of your mind, but they are nothing compared to the amazing person that I've devoted my life to. And that's where I think, and I think people compress those feelings too much. They think that they shouldn't fancy people in the street, so instead of just dealing with it and saying, well, yeah, I do fancy that person, but, you know, I'm married or whatever, and she's my everything, they compress it, and then it all gets too much, and then they cheat. And I'd say one thing, I would never cheat on my missus, ever. I would rather say to her, you know, I've gone off you or whatever, which would never happen. But, so yeah, but what I like, rant so much on these things, is that I like the fact with these programs is that you're getting, if you just watch a gangster who's in charge of a gang, he's got his own, you know, thing, and he's got his own strip club or whatever, that's boring. But when you present to us a gangster who is on the verge of a mental breakdown like all of us, that makes really good watching. And that's going to lead on to Breaking Bad, and again 12 minutes in, so I'm going to stop that and move forward.